Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I was quite on the fence about filming this video. If you don't know, if you're new to my channel, I've actually had COVID, so I wasn't very well and I wasn't really up to filming my 2020 beauty favourites, but it was something that I really wanted to film because I watch these videos every year. I love nosying at what people's favourite products were because it really helps me kind of get an idea of things that I might want to buy. I was like, has it been a bit too long? I know this is coming out really late, so I do apologise, but I'm still searching for these videos. I see a lot of YouTubers that are still putting out these videos, so I hope you guys will enjoy. So, in terms of my favourites, I haven't got just one favourite for like a lot of different things because I use so much, and honestly I find it more helpful when people show you a few different favourites and then you can kind of pick between. Apologies if the camera angle has just changed. My mum came up and I've been meaning to film a video with her for a while, so we just filmed that. It's kind of our experience of having COVID. Not sure which video will be up first. If it's up first, I'll leave it up here. If it's not up first, keep an eye out because it was a very good video and I'm very grateful for my mum to film it with me. But yeah, without further ado, I think I was about to get on with my favourites, so let's dive in. We're going to start with primers. I have two different primers for two different ways that I like to do my makeup. So I'm going to start with my favourite everyday makeup primer, which is the Ciate Watermelon Burst Hydrating Primer. I love this. I actually picked this up after seeing it in someone else's favourites video, I think from last year. I can't remember the YouTuber's name, but someone mentioned this and they said it was really good, and it was actually on offer when I got it. Look Fantastic quite often does deals on Ciate, so do keep your eyes peeled. I mean, it says it's a hydrating primer, it really is. I use this as an everyday primer. My skin isn't dry per se, it's kind of normal with oily patches and dry patches here and there, but this just creates such a nice natural base for your makeup to just glide on over it, and it does not feel heavy in the slightest. If I show you the bottle, you can see there's like these little speckles in it which do kind of come out in the pump, but then you don't really see on your face. I don't really understand it, but very, very lightweight. I don't know how well you can see that, but so kind of lightweight, water-based, and smells incredible. Just, if you like watermelon scents, get it. I don't know how well you can see. Obviously that's not it blended in, but that's just how lightweight it is. It does blend in and sink into the skin really easily, really quickly, and I just love this for a good everyday primer that helps your makeup to sit really nicely. It doesn't do anything amazing, but it just provides a nice hydrating everyday base. Ciate is kind of a mid-range brand. They're not super expensive, but they're not like crazy cheap. I haven't found any other primer that is like this. A lot of primers, you know, want to claim that they do all these things and can quite often feel really heavy, and then ones that claim to be more lightweight are just so slippy and slidey that I find like my oily patches they're just really not good for. But this is somewhere really nice in the middle, and yeah, provides a really great base. So that is my first primer favourite. Next primer favourite is for when I am wanting a little bit more of a full-on makeup day, which this year has been not very much, but I do quite like a kind of medium to heavy coverage base on a day-to-day anyway. It is the Ordinary High Adherence Silicone Primer. Now this primer, like I said, I use when I want a little bit more heavy coverage. It is a blurring, so high adherence blurring, surface smoother and primer, and it does do just that. Honestly, it feels like a moisturiser when you put it on, and it's not overly silicone-y. I've tried a lot of primers that just feel because they just feel way too slippy and slidey, but this is really, really good at blurring. I used to get really bad texture on my forehead. This would really, really help to blur that out. I think getting a primer from, you know, a skincare brand, I did expect good things. You know, the Ordinary is very, very affordable as well. This was not expensive at all. I'm kind of nearly used it up. I'd say I'm down to about there. But yeah, I use this sometimes day to day, but especially when I want quite a heavy base, because it does just help to blur my skin. That is the main thing that I notice that this does, but also helps the foundation to sit really nicely on top of it and last throughout the day. It definitely feels a lot heavier than the Ciate one, but not in like an uncomfortable way, just you can tell that it is a bit more there on the skin, but again, not in a bad way, in quite a nice way. So that's my favourite primers. I'm now going to move on to foundations, where I have 3. I know I said I'm not going to do just one because I couldn't pick between these 3, to be honest. At the beginning of the year, I wore this foundation the most. I wore this foundation throughout 2019, so before I started my YouTube channel. This was my absolute ride or die foundation. I haven't worn it so much towards the end of 2020, but because of how much I wore it at the beginning, I thought that it was still worth mentioning how much I do love it. And it is the CYO Long Lasting Foundation. Now, I honestly love this foundation. Love, love, love. So only really last year did I start buying more and more expensive makeup products. When I was younger, I was quite into buying expensive makeup, but when I kind of first went to uni, didn't have too much money and was definitely more into buying drugstore makeup. So I've honestly tried probably almost every drugstore foundation, and this is 100% the best. I swear by CYO. I love all their stuff that I've tried from them, and just a brand that people just do not talk about, and I don't know why, because I find everything I've tried from them is great. The reason I love this so much as well is because the shade 104 is one of the best matches for me I've ever found in a foundation. I know this doesn't look very empty for a favourite. Basically this comes up as well to really get the last bit of foundation out. I like that. I like being able to see how much you have left in it. I swear this is around the £7–8 mark, something like that. I'll leave everything linked down below. But this, I've gone through probably about 4 or 5 of these, and I can honestly say just the best drugstore foundation. Haven't really spoke about it very much. I would say that it's definitely a medium coverage, satin finish, just, you know, a general foundation. Good for everyday use, but I used to wear it for going out as well. Can kind of do it all, and is super affordable. So yeah, if you are wanting a good, cheap foundation, I would 1,000,000% recommend checking out the CYO Long Lasting Foundation. So, moving on to when I want a bit more of a natural makeup look. And by natural, I am not one of those girls that could just wear like Glossier Future Dew and that be it. My skin isn't great. I like a medium coverage, and by that, that's when I'm wearing not that much makeup. So it's all about kind of the perspective that you take this from, because I know a lot of people would use this foundation as their more heavier makeup, but in terms of base makeup, I quite often go quite heavy just because my skin isn't great. But anyway, the next favourite foundation is NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. I absolutely love this foundation. Mine is in the shade Yukon for reference. Probably a little bit too dark for me, but in the summer a perfect match. Yeah, it is medium coverage, buildable, nice kind of glowy finish, I would say, but it's not super dewy. I wouldn't say, I would say, but it is quite a nice, subtle, everyday healthy glow, and definitely medium coverage and buildable. I love how buildable this is. If you want to layer it up, you really can do it. It doesn't look cakey. The one thing I would say is the pumps that come out are really small. I honestly have to use about 3 to 4 pumps of this, when most foundations I'd use about 1.5. But yeah, I just love this. You put it on and you look really up close, and it does not cling to my dry patches. It just looks so smooth, and I just love it. I just love it. And I know it's not super cheap, but if you are kind of looking for a good everyday foundation that's going to give you the coverage that you need but look quite natural, I would 100% recommend checking out this. So next foundation favourite is the foundation I wear when I'm going all in, if I want to be really high coverage. If I was going out, I'd wear this, but let's be honest, no one's going out at the minute. but really good kind of night out, or just if you're having a really bad skin day, I will always wear this foundation. I've actually got it on today as well because I'm filming, and it is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. I have mine in the shade Too Cool, possibly a tiny bit on the light side for me, but barely noticeable. It's a pretty good match. Love the packaging. Just look how gorgeous the packaging is. I absolutely love this foundation. I try to use it sparingly because, you know, it's not cheap, but I'd say that's for good reason. I know I said I wasn't going to be picking absolute favourites between all that I've got, but if I could only keep one foundation out of all that I've mentioned, it would be this, just because it gives the most amazing coverage, and not just coverage, but it doesn't look cakey. I'm going to come up close because it's the foundation that I have got on today, and I know you can't, like, I have so many spots around this area. It just does quite a good job, I would say, at kind of blurring over them. You can still see, but really nice coverage. So yeah, this is great if you're wanting to go for a night out, you like heavy coverage, you maybe not having a great skin day, and you just feel like you want some extra coverage. I love this, and it doesn't look cakey. We're now moving on to concealers, which I do have quite a few. I couldn't pick. I love trying out base products. They're my favourite kind of product to buy and try. So yeah, I've got quite a few. So I'm going to start off with my favourite under eye concealer, because I think, you know, I definitely separate out what I use on my under eyes and my spots. Under eye concealer, I like a very kind of natural, glowy concealer. And then for my spots, I like something that is bang, full coverage. So my favourite concealer for under eye, hands down, the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. Mine is in the shade Light 2 Vanilla. Perfect match for me. I love this stuff. My one gripe is that it is running out, and I haven't used it all that much. Like, you definitely don't get a lot in here, but I love NARS packaging. Favourite packaging of a makeup brand ever. I love it. I think it's so sleek. And yeah, just this is so nice and glowy and natural under the eye, and for me it does not crease. So yeah, I've got it on under my eyes today. You probably can't tell very well because I have had my makeup on for a little while, but yeah, I've got it on today. I really like it. I try so many under eye concealers that just immediately crease, and this just doesn't do that. I think because it's creamy, it manages to just kind of blur over any creases. Like, I usually get really bad creasing along here with any other concealer apart from this one, and I know that this is a die-hard favourite, and for good reason. I really love it, so I had to give it a place in my 2020 favourites. Moving on now to my favourite spot concealer. This is quite an old favourite, but I've only just kind of tried it out this year, and it is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. My kind of my gripe with this one is that my kind of rim of the lid gets clarted in concealer. It always tries to like seep out. Don't love the packaging of Tarte stuff. It's just a little bit too over the top for me. I prefer something like NARS, but the concealer is amazing. I wouldn't use this under my eyes, it's just too heavy for me, but in terms of using it where I need extra coverage on my spots, again, this is the concealer I've got on today. I have really red spots around here, and it's just done an amazing job at covering them. Is annoying because you have to get it, you know, from America, which is a bit annoying, but I would say it's worth it because it's just such an amazing concealer. Mine is also nearly running out, but yeah, absolutely love this stuff. Mine is in the shade 20B Light for reference. So I know I said that I don't tend to use the same concealer under eye and on spots, but these two concealers are kind of the all-rounder. I would tend to gravitate more to using them on spots because they aren't natural coverage, they are more full coverage, but if I'm like traveling really light and I only need one concealer, I would be happy to use these under my eyes, and I have done, and they work. So yeah, they're kind of a dupe for each other. I have one high street and one that is more high-end. So my high-end pick is the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, again in the shade Light 2 Vanilla, and then the exact high street dupe for this is the CYO High Coverage Concealer in the shade Fair. So these are 100% dupes for each other. I use this NARS concealer all the time. As you can see, it is, you know, there is a full-on dent in there. I got the CYO one a while ago, and again, I've had some good usage out of this. I got the CYO one before the NARS one. If you can't afford the NARS one, you don't want to splash out, try the CYO. They're both really super creamy. The NARS is definitely, I would say, a little bit more creamier, a little bit easier to blend. But in terms of coverage, I would say they are kind of on par with each other. They give similar coverage. It is just that this one is a little bit easier for blending. I feel like the lighting might start going mad because the sun is going to start coming in soon. So I'm going to try and get through this video really quick. So I apologise if the lighting goes mad. I use these most on days where I don't have a lot of makeup on and I need something to blend with my fingers, because I do just blend these with my fingers, whereas more liquid based concealers I would always use a sponge. But this is just so easy, you know, whap the lid off, cover a spot, good to go. Again, use it on my eyes, good to go. Not as heavy coverage as the Tarte Shape Tape, I wouldn't say, but amazing coverage for covering up spots. Both of them, like I said, same coverage, it's just that the NARS one is a bit easier to blend. Okay, so moving on to like bronzer, contour. Honestly, I just do kind of contouring with a bronzer, bronzing with a contour. I do only have one favourite for this because there's definitely been a standout product for the year, and that is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. This is absolutely massive. I'm in no danger of running out anytime soon. I have mine in the shade 2 medium. I've used this since June time, I think, and you know, barely made a dent in it. It's really gonna last me forever. Packaging is just gorgeous, so blendable. That is why I love it. You know, I've tried so many contour and bronzers where if you put it on and it does that thing where it just leaves a line, that is you, like your makeup is kind of like ruined, you can't blend it. But this is so easy to blend, again, just so airbrushed. I love Charlotte Tilbury products. This is so expensive, like ridiculously so, but I would say it's worth it because, like I said, I've barely made a dent in it. I've been using it all the time for a good few months. So yeah, I absolutely love this bronzer. And I would say, you know, it's not too warm that you can't get away with using it for a contour, so I do just kind of do 2-in-1 with it and it works fine for me. And the mirror is super handy for when you're doing your makeup. Not so travel friendly, but really good nonetheless. Okay, so favourite powders, I have two. First one, Die Hard beauty favourite. Every YouTuber has probably included this in a favourites video. It is of course the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. Really like this. I never ever bring it with me if I'm travelling somewhere though, because I made that mistake once and all the powder just totally like came out and it was a right mess. But I really like this. I use this more when I want a natural powder. I don't use it to bake with, I don't like to bake, but it's very good at still leaving your skin looking quite fresh and glowy if you don't use too much. It depends how much you use. But yeah, this is a good kind of natural powder when I'm not so worried about having a powder that's going to make my makeup last all day, because I know a lot of people mention this has good lasting powder, but I think it's mainly just good for mattifying things down. That's what I would mostly say this is good for. So when I want more of a natural look, I would use this. When I'm going more all out, I need my skin to look flawless, it's another Charlotte Tilbury product. Are we surprised? No. So this is the Airbrush Flawless Finish powder. I have hit pan on this. I love it. Got mine in the shade 1 Fair. This is just beautiful. If I could only keep one powder, it would be this one. I do like the Laura Mercier one for more natural looks, but this is just amazing. You need the tiniest bit and it makes everything look flawless. It's just amazing. If anything is worth the money from Charlotte Tilbury, this powder. Just, oh my goodness. It's not chalky, it doesn't make you look super matte, but it does help to mattify down, and it definitely helps to lock foundation in, keep it on. You know, I will use this, so if you like tap your foundation and you're getting a lot of like transfer onto your finger, you use this, try it again, no transfer. Like, I just love this stuff. I absolutely love it. So if you're in the market for a more expensive powder, I would recommend this. If you want a high street dupe for this, the Rimmel Stima is pretty good. Nowhere near as good as this, but it's a good dupe, I would say. Moving on to blushers, I have two. This has definitely been the year where I've kind of got stuck in with blushers a bit more. And so my first blusher favourite is the, I feel like this is literally like just everything Charlotte Tilbury. I'm sorry, I just love Charlotte Tilbury stuff. The Pillow Talk blush by Charlotte Tilbury. Mine is getting pretty well loved. I love this blush. It's just so intense but glowy, very mature blush, definitely more on the darker side than I'd usually go, but I like this for days where I'm going more kind of full-on glam makeup. This is beautiful, just gorgeous, and blends like a dream. If you make a mistake with this, don't worry about it. Yeah, love this blush shade. Definitely one that I use when I'm going a bit heavier. I wouldn't use it for everyday use because it is quite intense, but I really like it. Second favourite blush is more natural, everyday blush. I've got it on today. It's nice, natural, peachy. It is MAC Sheer Tone Blush in the shade Peaches. Just such a nice peachy pink blush. Love this. Also blends like a dream. If I kind of am like, I don't know what blush to wear today, I will always wear this. It's just my ride or die favourite blush. I love MAC blushes. I find them really easy to blend, easy to work with, not too intense but very buildable. Yeah, 10 out of 10 would recommend this. Okay, moving on to highlighters now. I have two favourite highlighters, one of which you're going to look at and think that's in your favourites, but just guys, trust me here. So first favourite is the NARS blush in the shade Albatross. Now I know that this looks quite terrifying, almost like a powder, but it's honestly gorgeous. I've got it on today, if you can tell, there, and it's very subtle. I don't love, you know, a super blinding highlighter, but I like one kind of mid-range, and this is what this is. You might not be able to see it great in that lighting. I'm not in the best lighting to really show it off, but I'll try and do a swatch. That's it there, swatched. Just such a nice glow. And I would say, you know, like, is it gold? Is it more silvery? It's kind of somewhere in the middle. A very nice glowy highlighter that's not too cool tone, not too warm tone, sits somewhere nicely in the middle. No one talks about NARS highlighters. I was quite like, about trying this. I definitely want to try more. It doesn't look like chunky at all. That's one thing I love about this. No chunky glitters. I hate that in a highlighter. It does kind of look almost like a stick highlighter because it's just very nice and subtle. Love this for every day. Second favourite highlighter, very similar but a very different shade. It is the Fenty highlighter. I think it's like in the shade Kilowatt, but then it has Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal. I think that's how these work, but it is, as you can see, more of a pinky highlighter. I use both of these on my cheeks, and then I will use the lighter shade in my kind of like here and on the brow bone. Try and swatch this as well. So it's here, as you can see, really nice. The lighting is really going mad. I'm really sorry about this. Anyway, yes, just a really nice subtle kind of champagne-y, kind of pink toned but not crazy pink toned highlighter. Really suits my skin tone quite nicely, and just blends like a dream. Like, I guess when I'm kind of talking about these highlighters, it's more for the formula than the colour. I just have loved both of them, so yeah, would 100% recommend these. Okay, I'm gonna move on to eyes now. So let's do mascara. I have one standout favourite which I could pick very easily, and that is the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes mascara. I think this is another product that a lot of people raved about years ago, and the hype's kind of died down, but I only just tried it and I love this mascara. Love. This is what the wand looks like, just quite a classic mascara wand. but honestly it's amazing. You only need one coat and it will do you for a natural look. It really grips hold on my lashes and helps to curl them up the way. I really struggle with having mascara that helps to curl and lift. I just find that this does that. If you don't want it to be super clumpy, you can really make it work as a natural look, but if you want more full-on lashes, you can also make it work for that. The only downside is obviously, you know, coming from America, but I just love this. I love it so much, and I've had it for a few months and it's still going strong, lasting really well. Okay, in terms of eyeshadow, honestly I don't often buy new eyeshadow. It's just not my thing with makeup. I have all the colours that I feel that I need, but I do have some mentions. So most days I do just wear matte eyeshadow blended out, and the two palettes that I use for this, very old but still my favourites. Naked 3 for when I want more of a pink tone look. I use the shade Lunar, which I have hit pan on, just blended in my crease daily, and then I will use Limit on my lid. And yeah, just nice everyday look, not much more I can say. Nice and blendable. And then the Naked 3, I will quite often use the shade Chaser on my lid, and then, which one is this? And then Sauced through my crease, just for an everyday look. I also really like the shade He Devil if I'm going for a more full-on look. I don't tend to use shimmers from palettes. I always will prefer a cream shimmer or like a liquid eyeliner. I don't know why, that's just always the way I've been. But in terms of everyday eyeshadow, love these. Good to blend, good palettes. Yeah, nothing more I feel I can say. So in terms of like a cream eyeshadow that gives a bit of shimmer, I love this Milk Makeup eye pigment. This is in the shade Gig. I actually found this in TK Maxx. Blends really nicely and gives you a little bit of shimmer on the eye, but nothing too crazy. So if I'm going for a more evening look, I really like this. It's just a nice kind of, I'll swatch it, hold on. So as you can see, it's just quite a nice subtle shimmery copper shade. Really beautiful. I really like it. Eyeliner, which I've been actually getting into a lot more this year. I've been wearing eyeliner more, sometimes only eyeliner, and what I've always been using, which I've used my whole life, is the Soap & Glory Super Cat eyeliner. This again was, you know, back in the day a big YouTube favourite. I still swear by it. Just amazing, doesn't dry out very easily, good stability, affordable. Honestly, not much more to say, but I love it. Moving on to brows. I have two products which just outshine any brow product I've ever used. I used to hate doing my makeup because I was so bad at filling in my eyebrows. I'd use so many products, they would just look horrific. And then I asked my boyfriend for these two products for my birthday. So bearing in mind, these have only been in my life since the end of August, but they get the favourite. And it is this amazing Glossier duo of the Brow Flick and the Boy Brow. Oh my god, mine are in the shade Brown. I've used them today. And as you can see, my brows looking a lot more natural. A lot of people say they struggle to use this, but I just love how fine the tip is. If you make a mistake, you can just rub it away with your finger. I used to really struggle with my eyebrows, but now I have these. My brows take me 5 minutes. Just fill in with this, and your brows might look a bit like, you know, off, like not similar to each other. I know my brows don't look similar to each other even now, but if you find that you do this and you're like, oh my god, they really don't look the same, just persevere, go in with the Boy Brow, and you can kind of use the Boy Brow to mold them a bit to make them look more similar. I just love them and stay in place all day. If I'm in a rush, I will just use the Boy Brow, but most days I'll use Brow Flick and Boy Brow. Again, everyone loves these. I swear by this duo. Love them. Okay, my camera is flashing, so we need to get through the next few items very quickly. So, lip liners, Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk, really lovely pinky nude, and then Whirl, which is a bit of a darker, pinkier nude. gonna very quickly swatch these for you guys. Top one, Pillow Talk, this one, Whirl. Going for a more full-on look, I like this, but an everyday one, I like this one. Formulas, super nice, super creamy, they're great. In terms of lipsticks, this one is super affordable. It is the Collection lipstick in the shade Rosewood. I used this a lot at the start of the year. A really just nice natural nude shade, super comfortable, so cheap, love it. Then towards the summer months I was using the Urban Decay Comfort Matte in the shade Safe Word. This is definitely a very pink nude, as you can see from the middle. Very kind of pale pinky nude, which is my favourite shade of nude. Really comfortable, stays on all day, love it. Then towards the end of the year I've been loving the YSL Rouge Volupte Shine, sorry if I mispronounced that, in the shade 9. Can't remember the exact name of this shade, I'll leave it on screen. But this is amazing, like over lip liner. It's so natural and so comfy on the lips. Could wear on its own. Oh, my camera's flashing, this is stressful. Setting spray, absolute favourite. This is my favourite every year. It is of course the Urban Decay All Nighter. Locks your makeup in, keeps it on. I've only just recently started trying out other setting sprays. I've gone through so many of these and I love it. Also, very quick mention to the GlossierBalm.coms, not strictly makeup, but when I'm going for a more natural look, I really love these. They had a nice pop of colour and I use them almost every day when I don't have a lot of makeup on. Okay, I'm gonna have to wrap this video up here. Sorry for the quite rushed ending, my camera is flashing. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!